Hi, everybody. Good morning, Wednesday, June 17th, 2020. So today we're working on the canopy, as we started on in the last video. So kind of like with the rear window, it's more or less sort of the same steps in the beginning, right? So in the beginning with the back window, it's, place onto the airplane, find the center line, and then adjust the position so that the fitted sides are fitted in pretty well, as one of the sides will be your variable side that you have to trim, and then start trimming. Same exact thing here. So you've got the stencil attached to the top of the canopy frame that shows you the front edge of where the canopy acrylic is supposed to rest. You put that on. You adjust it left and right so that the overhang is identical on both sides. You mark your center lines. And now, with the back window, the front edge was the variable. That's where it had some overgrowth and you had to trim on that side. With this front canopy, it is the back. Right? So as you can see here, I'm just sanding off the excess. With my personal one here, I want to say it was more or less about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And the idea is that you want to sand this so that when it lays down next to the rear window, it's like, a 32nd, a 16th. It's basically as close as you can get it, right? While allowing for a little bit of room for expansion, cold weather, hot weather. So what you do is you put it on, you adjust the left and right, you make sure it's all fit, and then you look and you see your cut. Look at this is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Adjust with the stencil, adjust with the stencil, and then you check and see how your progress is going with the sanding. You're like, okay, I still need to take this and this off here, and then it's remove and continue to sand. Which, as you can see, is a little bit of a palava when it comes to doing this single-handedly. All right, so if you look at the left side of that while I'm sanding, if you look, you can see that there's a black line drawn all the way around the back edge, right? So that black line that I did with a Sharpie, that's my sanding edge. I need to get to the front of that black line. Now I could have cut it, and a lot of people do. Problem is, cutting is the nightmare scenario, right? You get a nice good cutting disc on there. You got to wait for a warm day because you don't want this acrylic to crack and your dreams are cracked with it. But when I saw it, I'm like, 1/4 of an inch. You know what? I'm just going to sand it off. Yes, it's more work, but less risk. The trick is to just work on an area and then move, right? Because the idea, you don't want to heat this acrylic up too much. This stuff, right, it's a composite and it will melt. So you don't want to heat it up. So if you just stay in one area forever, you could get this thing hot enough to where it wants to start melting and warping. Don't do that. Just sand around the edge. Of course, now looking back on it now, I mean, cutting it with a disc, you could probably cut it all in 5 minutes and then sand down to a nice fine edge and even get, right, like really sand it to a very beautiful edge. You could probably do that in, well, I don't know, an hour. I would say an hour tops. But, like I said, it's very risky. I'm sanding, and it took about 5 hours. I mean, you're trying to take 1/4 of an inch off. And I want this thing to be, beautiful, so. And here's another fitting. So yeah, so this video, next video, probably, I don't know, maybe even the next one after that, it's just sand, sand, sand. But you can see here, with the other window in place, right? How nice is that? Look at that. God, that is gorgeous. Ooh, you know what? In fact, okay, real quick. So here's a little sneak peek of what the cockpit area looks like from the back with the canopy on. Isn't that nice? I mean, granted, this is a, wide angle shot, but still, you get tons of room in this plane, so. Okay, so that does it for this one. In the next video, we're going to keep on sanding, try to get this canopy ready for drilling. That's right. I don't think we get to any drilling this week. I believe it's next week. So thank you for joining me, everyone. See you soon.